and welcome back to the Balanced Hairstylist podcast, where mental health and the beauty industry meet. I will be your host, Sarah Beck. Have you ever looked at your overbooked schedule and thought, why did I do this to myself? If so, this episode is for you. This episode came out of a conversation that I had recently with a fellow hairstylist. As I record this, we are in the middle of the busy holiday season. We are in the middle of December, which can often be the busiest time, as we know, for hairstylists and beauty professionals. And back in early November, I had a conversation with a fellow hairstylist, and she was saying, I am already dreading having to squeeze in people and also saying no to people for the holiday season. And so today I want to talk about some tips that we can use to help us not overbook ourselves this holiday season, and in everyday life. Today, I want to share 3 simple but really powerful tips to help us stop squeezing in those clients and overbooking ourselves, especially if we are people pleasers and we hate to disappoint clients and people, which, hello, that's most of us, right? So let's get into it. So, the first tip I want to give is to just slow down, to pause and take a breath. In the moment when you're scheduling a client, the first tip that I want you to do is to just stop, slow down, and take a breath. Before you say yes, before you automatically go into helper mode and pleasing, I want you to pause. We are multitasking all day at our jobs and outside of the salons and our beauty spaces as well. We're always multitasking, and we can often be in our reactive systems when we are multitasking so much. And so when we're in our limbic system, we have a tendency to just react instead of slowing down to respond. And so if we can slow our nervous systems down just a little bit, we can respond from our prefrontal cortex. We can go from our limbic system or our lizard brain into our thinking brain, into our logic and reasoning front of our brain, where we can give a response that feels more authentic to us. So you're responding not from habit or pleasing, but from intention. Slowing down, even just for a few seconds, can really help our nervous system get some space. And in that space, we're more likely to schedule our clients in a way that feels good to us and good to our schedule. And so we're reacting out of authenticity instead of guilt, pressure, or urgency. So for me, a pause can look like, let me really sit with my schedule for a second. Instead of saying, sure, yeah, I can make that work. Yep, let me get you in this time. I will say, let me just look at my schedule here for a second. And when I'm saying that, what I'm actually doing is I'm slowing myself down and I'm looking at my schedule to really feel like what could be the right answer for me. All right. Tip number 2 is I want you to put yourself in that day. Before you say yes to staying late or coming in early or not taking a lunch, I want you to mentally place yourself there on that day. Imagine how that day feels. Are you going to feel harried and hectic, like you're running behind all day? And how does your body feel? How is your energy? Are you depleted on that day? How present can you be with your clients and with yourself? Oftentimes, when we are busy back to back to back and overscheduled, there's no time to not only come back to yourself, but even feel present to know even what your needs are that day. If we can put ourselves in on that day, we can ask ourselves, is this a good idea? Should I be doing this? We're really good at agreeing to things in the future or like in the abstract, right? It's not even real. But when you imagine the lived experience that actually is going to happen from that decision, usually what happens is clarity will show up and you'll say, this does not sound like a good idea. If the thought alone gives you kind of a feeling in your stomach, or it makes you feel heavy or depleted or even resentful, you need to listen to that. That is information. That is something that we need to do to listen to ourselves to know what is right for us. We all have different levels of capacity. If we're living outside of our capacity every single day, or on these days where we're squeezing in clients, that is what leads us to the overwhelm and the burnout. So, this scheduling issue becomes very much a mental health issue because if we're living outside of our capacity, then our mental health is not going to be great. Okay, tip number 3 is I want you to practice sitting with the feeling of disappointing a client. This one I feel like is a big one because we can pause and then we can think about ourselves on the day, and then we can say, nope, that's not going to work for me. And then what happens is we feel that client or hear that client's disappointment. And then if we're people pleasers, that immediately invokes this feeling of, oh, let me fix it. Actually, I can get you in on that day. It's okay. If a client says, oh, I'm going out of town and this is my every 6-week appointment and you always get me in. And, there's always these things that make us feel like we're disappointing someone. And so it's really important for us to understand that feeling of disappointing someone. That's okay. Because in the end, we are choosing to disappoint them or to disappoint ourselves. And if we can't disappoint them, then at the end of the day, that burnout is going to happen. So instead of avoiding that disappointing feeling, just practice sitting with it. Discomfort doesn't mean that you did something wrong. It doesn't mean that you're unkind. It just means that you're human and that you're choosing yourself and your schedule and your mental health. When you allow that feeling without immediately trying to fix it or numb it or override it, it loses some of its power over you. And over time, saying no becomes less about guilt and more about trusting yourself. Sometimes I think part of the issue is that we have these relationships with our clients that we feel, friendly with them and we know their stories. And so when we say we can't get you in on this day, it's sometimes hard for us. But I think we need to start looking at our schedules more like a dentist would, let's say. A dentist has every hour they have an appointment and every day they take an hour lunch, and then when they're full and they can't get you in. And there's no saying, oh, dentist, I have a trip coming up, or it's my daughter's wedding, or how could you, or you always squeeze me in. It's generally, nope, we can't get you in on that day. Here is our next available appointment. And so when we start treating our businesses a little bit more like that, I think the respect becomes reciprocal of, nope, I can't get you in on that 6-week date. The next available appointment I have is such and such. And just leave it at that. We don't have to over explain ourselves. These are our schedules, and people can get in when they can get in. We don't have to overextend ourselves. Okay, if this resonated with you, I want you to take it into your salons, to your beauty spaces, to your daily lives for when someone is asking for an appointment and you start to feel this tension sort of rise in your body. I want you to take this with you. I want you to first pause, slow down. Second, I want you to imagine the day. And third, I want you to be okay with someone else's momentary disappointment. I hope this was helpful for you. If it was, please share it with someone. Please like and subscribe. It helps me and it helps us as a community of hairstylists and beauty professionals in our mental health. And also make sure that you join the free community at thebalancedhairstylist.com. This is a very safe space for us to be able to share our challenges, our questions, our wins, anything that you are facing right now as a hairstylist or beauty professional. I want you to go to that community and share with us. We are there to support each other. Okay, before we wrap up, just a friendly reminder, I am not a licensed therapist. I am your fellow hair friend that is sharing tools and stories and encouragement to help us all feel a little bit more balanced and bringing mental health to the forefront of the beauty industry. This is not a replacement for professional care. So please, if you feel the need, reach out to a mental health professional because you deserve real support. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Please share, like, all the things. Until next time.